I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Lavi.
And Salty and Chip.
Having a very hard time.
Saying Lavi?
I'm having a hard time transitioning.
I know.
Somebody messaged me. They're like, bring back Sparky. It's not going to happen. Sparky's about to take his trip to the Ain't Self, inshallah. Okay.
I do miss Sparky, though.
I've moved on.
You have?
Mere bag of shells.
You move on quickly.
Okay, so this is Disasterpiece by Slipknot. Inevitably, we'll have somebody complain, say we listen to too much Slipknot. And then we do one Slipknot song a week.
Yep.
We usually have Ghost and Metallica on rotation on Monday, Tuesday.
Bastard.
On Monday, Tuesday, but it still won't make any difference. It won't make any difference.
Not a bit. Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay.
So yeah, this is, speaking of which, Where in the World is the Village?
Yes.
Shout out to the big homie Tom.
Look at this guy.
Tom Weston, he's a badass guitarist. Tom, send us a video, my guy.
Oh yeah.
Send us a video.
Yeah, I would have put it right now, the sound.
Yeah.
In the background, that would have been cool.
If you want a shirt, it's PayPal, Vin and Sori merch at gmail.com.
$25 if you're in the US, free shipping, so.
Right.
Just tell us what size you need. If you're outside the US, you get to tack on $15 for shipping.
Come on.
Unfortunately.
But I will personally guarantee
you get that shot.
Get that shot.
Shout out to the big homie.
Shout out to the big
Vikings.
All right. King Egbert.
Don't forget the back of the shirt says...
Maybe you're sick because of your secrets.
Yep.
All right. So here we go. Slipknot, Disasterpiece. Let's go.
Go. I tell you what you're looking at. Everyone you ever fucking loved on. Look at my eye, for the odds are difficult. I can feel it underneath like a miracle. Everybody in the world needs more than lies and consequences to bear with them. Once again, it's me and no one else. I can't remember if there was that someone else. Without mine, it's not fair. It's out of my hands and it's shaking. You never take mine. Noises, people make noises, people make noises. We're missing nothing to do with our bodies and nothing. Noises, people make noises, people make noises. We're missing nothing to do with our bodies and nothing. gone. Goodbye, so depressing. Withering away. Take a look inside. My soul is missing. All I have is dead, so I'll take you with me. Feel like I'm erased, so kill me just in case. I feel like I'm erased, so kill me just in case. Don't kill me just in case. Everything around me's mine. Can't see that it's not in my eyes. I'm not about to pay it. I'm not about to pay. Splurging and crying all the way. You won't let me fucking stay. I'm not about to pay it. I'm not about to pay it. Is there another way to live? Cause it's the only way to die. I'm not about to pay it. I'm not about to pay God. No! 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 No, not about to pay it. I'm not about to pay. I'm not about to pay it. I'm not supposed to pay.
Yikes.
Awesome, disturbed young men. I love that music, though. I forgot we were doing Slipknot when this first started. I think because I got focused on Where in the World and stuff like that, and poor little Sparky.
Yeah.
And then when it started, I was like, who are these people? I like them. And I'm like, oh, that's right, it's Slipknot. But what are we singing about?
This is,
There was some alarming things that I heard at the beginning, but I don't know. And then at the end, he was saying, like, I'm not supposed to be, like... So I don't know if he, like, means, like, his existence. Like, he's not supposed to... Like, he didn't feel like he's supposed to be, like, existing.
This is the, these are all the refugees of the nihilism of the 20th century here.
Yeah, yeah.
In this song.
Oh, wow, okay.
Keep saying it. Ideas have consequences.
Oh, no, I totally agree.
And it's like, you know, people always say, like, oh, why do you always mention God? And isn't there things you can look at apart from God? Sure.
Yep, here you go.
Welcome.
Welcome to your life, apart from God.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
You know, he says, when do I get to know why?
Yeah, and he said, like, people are holding on to him, looking at him, like, give me the answers. Like, their eyes are saying, give me the answers.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's, you know, clinging to the person next to him, like, tell me the answers.
Well, I mean, he's a rock star.
Yeah, so you've got to know.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, you must know.
Yeah, yeah. This is a guy coming into
You're gripping onto the wrong dude, my dude.
existential self-awareness that
Yeah.
he's got nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be. I remember that last time when I'm not supposed to be.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard this record because I bought it as soon as it came out. And like, this record is a really, really emotional record for me because this was what I was listening to on repeat right before I ended up in the hospital.
Oh, really?
So like, all those feelings, all that atmosphere, like...
Do you think that had anything to do with it? Like...
No, I mean, it kept me alive.
Putting you in that direction?
Nah. It kept me alive. I mean, I was already like...
Yeah.
I was already there. Watch all.
Interesting.
But this, like, because it was somebody who kind of knew, who was kind of putting words to my feelings and stuff, you know, and it's, you know, it's a very rare thing when somebody actually vocalizes the ramifications of what they believe.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you know, like when we talked about the prayer video in Disturbed, where I was talking about how in the Bible, God is behind a lot of the terrible shit that goes on. Yeah. And there's no way to... Yep. There's no way, you know, we had this conversation earlier with a good friend of ours. Like, there's no way to say that God's, whoa, what? Yep. You know, so there's some, like, if you're a theist, especially a Christian theist, there's some really tough ramifications that you have to wrestle with. Yep. And if you're not, there are some really fucked up ramifications that you have to deal with. And I think that this song really, really expresses, who am I? Why am I here? You know, that's the existential question. Why am I here? Yeah. What's my purpose?
I think that I have not had, like, I don't have any existence apart from my existence with God. Like, right. I, like, as far back as I can remember, belonged to God and knew of God, and, like, there was nobody that could convince me there was no God. Right. So I can't, like, I can't understand, like, I feel like if I had this mindset where I didn't have answers and I didn't believe in God, then I can see how people come to, if you don't believe that anything has any value apart from, like, can it offer something to the world for the greater good or not? And if it can't, then dispose of it. Then I can see why people with that mindset, you know, like, remember there was that person that was, I don't even remember where this, but they were on the edge, like, to jump off, like, and people were coaxing them just to jump off, like,
oh, yeah.
Just kill yourself, just end it.
Yeah.
And, like, that sounds insane coming from my worldview, but if I didn't have God and I'd be like, well, that person's obviously mentally unstable. They're not going to help our gene pool at all. Like, they're just going to procreate and make more people that are... Yeah.
Advance a species.
Yeah, they're not going to advance us at all. So jump, my dude. You know what I mean? Like, I can see how people would get to that. Like, if you don't understand the value in every single human being, regardless of where they are mentally or, you know, whatever. Like, I just.
Yeah.
And what a depressing place to be, to have mindsets that have no answers.
Take a look inside. My soul is missing.
Yeah.
Like, but, you know, a lot of these kids are being told they don't even have a soul.
Yeah.
That everything is just the natural world, and they're just a bunch of, you know, brain fizz.
See, I thought that Christians didn't get depressed. So when I would feel depressed, I wouldn't, like, acknowledge it as depression. Right. And now, like, I get depressed, and of course I've been through more things now, so but I think to myself, even when I'm very depressed, and even when, like, if I read the Bible, it doesn't seem to really help me, in the back of my head, I'm always like, but God. So,
right.
So I don't know, like...
You've got a backstop.
I do. I have something there. I'm like, you know what, God, you might not be speaking to me as much as I want you to, or you might not be whatever, but at the same time, it's still like, I like, know he's there, and, like, he's doing something, even when it feels like he's not.
Yeah, it's like... Really, seriously, what do you have to tell this kid?
Pull your hands away. What I'm saying. I don't know.
I'm gone, goodbye, withering away. Take a look inside, my soul is missing. Well, what are you going to tell the kid? Well, your soul isn't missing. You never had one. You don't have a soul.
Yeah.
That's what these kids are being taught. That they're just a sum total of
they're
just
being told they don't have a soul.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
They say those words, you don't have a soul.
That's atheism. You can see a ton of these videos.
How is that atheism to say? How is that atheism?
Because the soul is a sort of metaphysical reality that's outside of the natural world, that can't be really measured. So it's like you don't really have something inside of you. It's just all in here. It's just, you know, your brain.
Yeah.
It's just your brain. That's it. All you have is a brain. You don't have a soul. You know, you said, like, you broke my heart and all that stuff. That's all, like, poetic shit to talk about. You know, neurons firing off in your brain. There's nothing like...
So what are your emotions?
It's all in your brain.
Oh. Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's all in your head, all of it, everything. Love, all of it. And what they've done is, like...
It's that breaking it down to the scientific where they say, well, these are firing off.
It's just cells. It's just neurons. Like that guy I was talking to at the last fireside chat. He's like, reality is just neurons firing off in your head. Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
Okay,
right, well... These neurons that are firing off.
Well, you tell a kid that.
Yeah.
And he sits down and he thinks through the ramifications of what you just told him. Now he doesn't have a soul. Love has no meaning. Nothing has any meaning. You don't really love that girl. It's just you want to pass on genes, and it's a good sort of it's a good strategy. No. It's a good strategy for you to go and propagate the whatever and you know, protection and defense and blah blah blah. Like if you take the supernatural element away from each person, all their value is gone. Everything is gone. You know, so it's like, so this is what you have left. My soul is missing. All I have is dead. I'll take you with me. Why not? Serious question. You know, like, why not? I feel like I'm erased. Kill me just in case. You know, and I don't think that he got to this place only because somebody taught him that. Mm-hmm. You know, or any of these kids that are going around shooting and killing each other. But it's definitely a major part of it.
Yeah.
When you tell them that they're just a collection of cells.
Yeah.
And all their thoughts and everything, all their loves are just neurons firing. There's no real, you know, all that shit that you thought was, all gone.
When people say that, like, they'll say that a fetus is just a clump of cells, but, like, aren't we just essentially a clump of cells also? Like, yeah. So what's the difference? We're
just a more well-developed clump of cells, basically. I mean, that's pretty much it. But of course, a lot of people are thinking through like the ramifications of what they're thinking. Yeah. I mean, we've seen that multiple times. Like, they're not asking the third and fourth question of their own view of the world.
Yeah.
They like to attack other people's views of the world, but they never really. It's obvious. Yeah. It's been pretty obvious every fireside chat that God bless them, but they don't. But it's just. It was a very strange experience listening to this song because I haven't listened to this song in a very, very long time. And so it's like I remember feeling like, but again, to your point, I've never been at a point where I completely felt like a completely empty person.
Yeah,
ever.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know. Like,
I never believed that.
I'm saying in my darkest moments, even when I felt like, if I said the words, God, I feel like you've abandoned me, I'm still talking to him and I'm still saying, look, you're doing me wrong by leaving me in this situation. Like, come nearer to me. Like, I still have an understanding that he's there.
Well, if he's close enough to hear you say that he abandoned you, he's still pretty close.
Right. So I don't know what it would be like to feel that way, but not even like, and to think, there's no God, there's no reason for my existence, I'm just here. Honestly, then...
Yeah, the answer to that is, well, you can come up with your own meaning. You pretend that you have a meaning. What if this kid has come to the reality that he has no meaning? What can you tell him?
And how can you make meaning out of a life that has so much pain? Like, if you've had certain situations will lead you in certain places where you haven't really accomplished much in your life.
Right.
And how are you going to tell that person, now you're 35 years old, you're 46 years old, you're 70 years old, make some meaning out of your life. But our theology is you have meaning from the second that you become those clump of cells,
Well, yeah. I mean...
I don't know. I don't know what it would be like to be... And I actually feel like it's actually kind of... I feel a little bit like kind of agitated and upset about the thought of what that would be like.
Well, I mean, it's a I forgot, what's his face? Dawkins basically said that he's got this famous quote about the universe being nothing but cold indifference. Yeah. And it's like, how does it feel to be locked inside another dream that never had a chance of being realized? Like, think about that. Like, these people, everybody goes through life. You have these dreams. Yeah. And really, if you think about it, a lot of people, because you're not tethered to God for your meaning. Yeah. A lot of people pour all their meaning into these dreams. Right. And that's where the locus of your meaning. That's a fucking risky game.
That's why after the, Brady or anybody, they win the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. They got all this emptiness. Yeah, for sure. And you see it in soldiers. You see it a lot of, that's one of the reasons why a lot of these guys, when they come back home, they'd rather be deployed. Yeah. Because as a kid, like, I'm going to be a soldier, I'm going to do it, and blah, blah, blah. And, that's the locus of all their meaning. And then they get done with it. And it's like, okay, now what? Now who are you? Yeah. Because a lot of these guys, they were, so it's like, but then there's the other side of it, which is, what if you don't accomplish your dream? Then what? I was
just going to say either way.
Then what are you worth? I remember watching American Idol one time. It was like the 16-year-old girl, and she had been like a semi-finalist, and she, whatever. Mm-hmm. And she started crying, and they said, why are you crying? And she said, this was my only chance. And they were like, what do you mean this was your only chance? Like, what are you talking? You're 16 years old. And she was like, you could tell. She was like, this was my only chance. Wow. It's her only chance at meaning. Yikes. So if you get locked inside of a dream, you never had a chance of being realized. It's like, you're fucked. Because if you leave people to make up meaning for themselves, that's a very, very dangerous, Yeah. I mean, think about this stuff, like these, copycat killers or whatever, or anytime somebody goes out and does some horrible. Unfortunately, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, I remember those names to this day. Those kids that did Columbine, they get their 15 minutes or whatever it is, because, it's like that's where they find meaning. These people find, that is a real basic thing, and it's like. Everybody in the world needs more than lies and consequences to power them. That's a very interesting point. Mm-hmm. Once again, it's me and no one else. I can't remember if there was a someone else. Meaning, he's so alone. Yeah. He's pretty much alone in the world.
Oh, a someone else isn't another person? Yeah. Or someone else as in himself? Like, was he always this way, or was there someone else that was him that...
Well, it says, once again, it's me and no one else. I can't remember if there was a someone else.
Okay, yeah.
Noises, people make noises when they're sick.
Yeah, what?
Nothing to do except hold on to nothing. Well, I think it's kind of like, I was listening to a guy one time, and it was a very complex argument, and it got mocked off. And there, you know, a lot of times, word to the wise, my atheist friends, it's not a good strategy to just laugh off an argument, because it may very well be that the argument is way more intelligent than you're able in the moment to realize. Like, if you hear an argument that you've never heard before, it's not smart to laugh at it, because then other people who know the ramifications of the argument, you look really silly. So somebody said, you know, how do you know the universe didn't just, you know, explode into existence or whatever? And the guy said, I know that you don't believe that. And he goes, what do you mean? Of course I believe that. I don't believe in God. He goes, you know how I know that I know that you believe in God? And he goes, how? He goes, because you use words. And he goes, oh my gosh, can you believe this? Da, da, da. What he wasn't realizing was language presupposes a whole bunch of shit.
Yes. Yes.
We're not going... We're not just making noises. Language presupposes that there are these metaphysical ideas that don't have extension in time and space, that all of us know are true, that we then use our vocal cords and tongue and teeth to formulate verbal metaphors to speak to those invisible things.
Yeah.
And that means that you believe that there is such a thing as logic.
Right.
And there's such a thing as an ultimate logos, which is the word. Right? So because you're using words, you presuppose that there's a whole bunch of absolute things in the world that don't have extension in time or space and cannot be measured by the scientific method. That's what a word is.
Right.
Of course, that argument was like way over this dude's head, so he laughed it off, and I never use that argument because, I mean, unfortunately, you know, most people don't have the patience to sit and think through the ramifications of it. But if people are not using words, they're just noises. You know, because, and look, it says nothing to do except hold on to nothing. Like, you've got nothing to ground you in the world for anything. So, like, even something as simple as words and speaking, it's like, okay, on what basis does the word love equal anything?
Yeah.
What does love mean? What does it equal? Well, love equals some metaphysical reality that's out there that we can't quantify with the scientific method. But let's say that it's all in your head, and you can quantify something like that, and then you strip it of all of its, you know, existential meaning. Then you have nothingness, and love then just becomes just noises coming out of your mouth.
Right.
Like, there's no reason or rhyme or logos for anything. It's just blah, just a giant jumbled mess. And so that's a very, very like. That's a very intricate argument. Like I said, I never use it, but it's a very interesting point, like what a word is. And so when you're in a world where there's no such thing as absolute truth, there's no absolutes about anything, everything is just firing off in your neurons, at the end of the day, then words don't carry any real meaning. They're just noises. Everybody's sick and everybody's just like throwing noises out there. And people, you know, you have the death rattle right before you die. So that's what words are. Words are just the death rattle that everybody's making before they go off and die. So what do you have to hold on to? Nothing. And that's what nihilism is. It's nothing. So that's a very, very, and it says no one is safe.
Yep. Look, the song right before this on the record is People Equal Shit.
Of course.
Yeah.
And in the song he said, what do you want from me? You never told me the failure I was meant to be. So like, it's coming off of that being feeling like a failure, you know, you're locked in a dream, blah, blah, blah. So now you've got this, now you have to deal with that kid. You told him all that shit because you were so high and mighty and you've outgrown God. Excellent. Now you have to deal with this shit. And what do you tell somebody with this? What do you tell a 17-year-old kid that figures that shit out? Because I figured that shit out when I was 17. So what do you tell him? You know, and then you want to fall back on, oh, you know, you're valuable, you're important, blah, 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 and the kid says, why? And he keeps saying why, and you have nothing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have nothing.
Yeah.
Then you say some shit like, well, life is what you make it. What the fuck does that mean to this kid?
Right.
Serious question. Like, we don't know, you know, like, that's why I always say it, like, I always have fun debating and stuff like that. But then when I bring something to its logical end and I say, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't say that. You don't really believe that. Like, because, like, people don't realize that, like, these views of the world have, and look, all I'm saying is, what does this sound like to you? I mean, look at the literature.
Yeah.
Look at the a serious question. Look at poetry from 100 years ago from 16 and 17-year-olds. They weren't saying this. Something happened to where this is now the common feeling. Serious. You know, and like, people don't understand, like, when I bring up art or bring up The Purge, they go, it's a movie. Art imitates life.
Yep.
So if you want to know what's going on in a given culture, look at the art. I challenge you. Go look up poetry from teenagers back in the day. One, you'll see that they're extremely intelligent and they use very big words that you'll have to...
You'll be like, this couldn't be a teenager.
Right. And two, you will see that the tenor is vastly different. And then look up poetry in teenagers from 1967 on and see what happens. In the Western world, you're gonna tell me that what we're telling people doesn't have ramifications? Okay. All right. But anyway, yeah, it's a pretty emotional song because I remember, especially that end part, I'm not supposed to be. I remember that. I remember feeling like that.
Jeez.
I remember feeling like, you know, it's a really crazy thing. And it's just, you know, it's kind of heartbreaking to some degree because I have so much, my parents both, like, instilled so much meaning and purpose about my life. Especially me, you're supposed to die as a baby, you didn't die, you're here for a reason, blah, blah, blah. And even with that, I still had that feeling that I wasn't supposed to be here.
Interesting.
I don't know how the hell these kids make it out alive nowadays. I really, really don't. It's a miracle. If you're fucking 16, 17, 18 years old, you made it out of school, fucking congratulations. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You, my friend, are a superhero. And
if you didn't make it out, it's not too late. Go back and get your GED.
Well, I'm not even talking about graduating. I'm talking about getting out of there alive. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, yeah, get your GED, but as long as you're on the planet Earth, hats off to you. Seriously. Because this shit right here it's insane. It's crazy. It's crazy what we're telling these kids, man. It's criminal.
Yeah, I agree.
It's criminal. Absolutely criminal. But anyway, shout out to all the teenagers. Alright, what do you rate the song?
Oh man, for sound wise, I like give it a 9. The topic I don't like though, so I think I'm gonna have to give it. I mean, I think it's an important discussion to have, but gosh, 7, 8.
If you don't like the topic and does it disturb you?
Yeah, I really don't like that. Yeah.
Then it did its job.
Yeah.
I should go the opposite way if it disturbed you.
Yeah, but I don't want people like feeling like that and like rocking to this song. And
they do feel like that.
9.
Well, I'm not saying give it a 9. I'm just saying, you know, it's a 10 for me because it captured the nihilism very well.
Yep, it definitely did.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Love y'all.
Not dead, people made, not dead, people made, not